good to all of us.
Yes, he is.
I want to call your attention to the Gospel of Luke, the 13th chapter. Luke, the 13th chapter, if you will. I want to read a parable to you, and I want to talk about our time of shelter in place and what we should be doing. The word reads, and he told this parable. A man had a fig tree that was planted in his vineyard. He came looking for fruit on it and found none. He told the vineyard worker, listen, for 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree.
Yes.
And haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it even waste the soil? But he replied to him, sir, leave it this year also, until I dig around it and fertilize it. Perhaps it will produce fruit next year, but if not, you can cut it down.
Yes.
I want to talk about the space you're in. I want to use that as a thought. The space that you're in. Is it productive or not? This parable, and I'm so grateful for those who are here with us this morning as we continue our social distancing and praying for those around the world who have been affected by COVID-19. We're praying for you and your families, and I'm praying for that God will give us all a spirit of understanding. Just because some people choose to do differently than we do, we're not going to ridicule them.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to pray with them
right.
for them. For God has given us all a measure of faith. But for us here at Living Faith, we will continue to social distance for a while to make sure that all of us are safe and sound as much as we can. But Luke 13 and verses 6 through 9 is a parable that Jesus spoke. This parable carries the idea of things that is placed side by side. It's a short story. Parables are short stories in which comparison is made to represent reality. Here, in this text, Jesus is using a parable of a vine dresser to correlate with Israel, the Jewish people. And he's taking earthly terms that they're familiar with to illustrate a heavenly truth. And so in this scene, I want you to think about the fig tree as a representative of those of the household of Israel, or those who are living in this world as we know it today. Now, his purpose in planting, we got to understand that this fig tree was just like all the other fig trees. It was placed in the vineyard. It was planted in the vineyard. The vineyard dresser himself had placed his hands even on this particular fig tree. And so I want to let us all know that we're placed in this world because of Christ and God himself. His hand is upon all of us. But no matter where he places us, the question is, are you productive where you've been placed? And even in the sheltered place, we cannot use any more excuses why we're not growing or why things are the way they are. Is the season of excuses is off the table, because all of us have been planted, all of us have been handpicked by God himself. And this text began to really agitate me to the place of questioning. And I want to suggest to you, anytime God is doing a spiritual work in your life, then you are proposed with many questions in the form of doubt. When God tells you you're healed, and the first time your toe ache, you want to ask the question, God, am I really healed? Whenever you're doing what God called you to do, the enemy will always pose a question to see if you're on the right track with God. But I want to suggest to you, no matter what is going on in our lives, we got to be placed and being productive while we're being placed. And the text begins to really get me, because here's the first thing that happens in the text. It says in the text, he came looking to inspect what was planted. And the question today is, if if God come looking at your evidence of your tree, would he find fruit or would he find leaves that has covered up what's supposed to be fruit? And the text says the fruit of the fig tree is covered by its leaves. And the fruit is under the leaves, but you have to be closely inspected to make sure that you're seeing figs. And when the owner of this vineyard came, when he pulled the leaves back, he saw no fruit. Can I ask the question? When God uncovers you, when God exposes you, would he find emptiness or would he find fruit? Would he find prayer or would he find complaining? Would he find you worshiping or would he find worry? When God exposes you from the leaves that are covering you, in other words, when you're undressed, not physically undressed, but when you undress spiritually, what will God see when he look at you? And I don't know about you, but God was expecting to find fruit. And it's bad to know that when you are looking for fruit and don't find fruit, that there's something that has gotten in your way. And God is expecting us to grow in today and time. I don't care how long we stay in shelter in place. The question is, are we growing? Are we growing in our faith? Are we growing in a relationship with Christ? Because if we're not growing, we're simply being stagnated and we're on the verge of dying. I want to tell you that the spirit of expectation is to have a strong desire and be filled with anticipation and confidence that what we're hoping for we can obtain. So can I ask you, what are you expecting God to do for you in this season? Are you expecting to come out of this season stronger and better? Are you expecting to come out of this season with more things that you haven't had before? I want to ask you a question. Why are we not expecting in this season? I don't care what we're going through, but I expect God to be better to me now than he was yesterday. I don't care what we're going through. I expect God to continue to heal. I expect God to deliver. I expect God to raise the way I think. I expect God to allow me to touch something and it be mine. I expect God to allow wherever I walk that place belongs to me. In other words, I got confidence in the word of God. I'm hoping that what I expect for will come to pass. Do I have anybody in here who expect God to do something in your life? I don't care what it looks like right now. I don't care what people say about you. I don't care what you have to go through, but do you expect God to bring you through it? And on the other end, do you expect to be better than when you went through it? Somebody ought to shout, God, I'm expecting glory to fall in this place. God, I'm expecting you to heal my house. God, I'm expecting you to heal people on my job. God, I'm expecting you to bring people closer to you who've never known you before. God, I'm expecting you to show yourself to a sin-sick world. God, I'm expecting you to give us increase. Anybody in here believe in increase? I don't care what the world looks like. I believe God can give us increase of our faith, increase of our finances, increase of our family. This is a season of increase. I'm not expecting to die, but I'm expecting to live. Greater is he that's within me than he that's in the world. Somebody ought to shout, I expect God to be God, and I expect God's word to be true. Yeah. So what are you expecting? Do you have enough confidence in God that what you're going through won't be what you will end up with? God was trying to tell Israel through this parable, I need you to get your life together. You ought to touch yourself. I know we can't touch our neighbor. I know you can't high-five your neighbor. This ain't about your neighbor. It's about me. Touch yourself and say, I expect me to get it right with God. God is talking with me through this parable. What your life look like? How are you living? Are you living a righteous life that's full of fruit that God will be pleased of? The text says he is looking for us to bear fruit. What kind of fruit? Fruit of holiness. What kind of fruit? Fruit of peace. What kind of fruit? Fruit of joy. What kind of fruit? Fruit that will be pleasing to him. When God looks at you, is he disappointed?
Jesus.
He is expecting fruit, and so the text begins to say that Israel had a life of production. They liked producing the fruit that God was looking for. Now, the text says something that was very interesting. He said for 3 years, he came looking for fruit in this vineyard from this particular tree. Year after year, the same results happen. How in the world can we keep coming to church year after year and we're still the same as
Preach,
before?
man of
How
God.
can we keep coming to church and praying to God and serving God and singing to God and our faith haven't grown from year
Yes.
one? How can we come to church and lift up holy hands and say, God, I believe in you. God, I trust you, but our faith ain't moved from square one. Who am I talking to in here? I want to let you know, if you've been in this thing longer than a year and the enemy ain't on your trail, something ain't right in your life. But somebody else shout, I must be living right because all hell is breaking loose. I must be living right because the devil keep on messing with me. I must be living right because every time I look around, there's something that's trying to sidetrack me, but I thank God that I'm still standing. Somebody ought to say, I'm producing what God required me to produce. Look at the text. The text suggests a couple other things to me. The text says that they were planted in the same soil, so you can't blame your neighbor for not growing, and your neighbor is growing. You can't blame your mama there for not growing because they are growing. You got to understand, you got to be accountable for your own growth. So he says, he told the vineyard worker, he says, listen, 3 years, same amount of time that Jesus spent with his disciples, 3 years have I come looking for fruit on this fig tree and haven't found any. God said, he said, I am tired of looking for the wrong stuff in you. He said, I'm looking for you to produce, but you show me evidence of no production. Cut it down. Isn't that something that God got to the point where he says, I'm through expecting from you what you can't do for me. He says, cut it down. It comes to a place where you're planted to produce, which is service. And when you can't produce service, God says, cut it down. But somebody ought to be happy that God has somebody in this world called Jesus who was the vine dresser of the vineyard. He said, wait a minute, God, before you cut it down, allow me one more time to work with this individual. Can I talk to somebody? God got through with us a long time ago, but because of an intercessor, because somebody stepped in when we were unproductive, when somebody saw the potential in us and said, Daddy, I know they deserve to die. Daddy, I know they deserve to be poked up out of here. But if you give me one more chance to deal with them, so somebody got to understand this is your chance. God is tired of you sitting down in the middle of the sheltering place doing nothing. You ain't praying, you ain't serving him, you ain't worshiping him. All you're doing is complaining. But Jesus says, I will step in and intercede for you and say, Daddy, don't take him out of here. But Daddy, give it one more chance. Why? Because I got a plan for you.
God. Thank
Somebody ought to get happy that God still got a plan for your life. Because when God wanted to cut you down, when God wanted to remove you from the soul, this is what he says, why should I even let the soul waste? We're unproductive Christians. Why should I let the world waste? And you got a potential, but you ain't living up to the potential. Who have you witnessed to? Who have you led to Christ? Who have you encouraged? Who have you prayed for during this chapter? Why waste good soul when you are not doing a thing?
Jesus.
Somebody asks, what's the plan? Well, what are you trying to do for me, God? God was telling Israel, I'm tired of you with sin and ain't repenting. I got you in a good place, but you're living as if you're going to live forever while you're doing nothing. It's time out for do nothing, Christians. You've been doing nothing before we got here. You've been doing nothing since we've been here. God is saying, I need you to stand up, show up, and do something for the kingdom. Who am I talking to in here? Facebook, high five the Lord and tell me that I am in a season of getting ready to do something. I didn't do that yesterday, but today. Because Jesus stepped in. He said, I got a plan for your life. That's called grace. That's called mercy. And listen what it says in verse 8. He replied to him, sir, he's interceded. He said, Daddy, leave him alone this year. Just one more year.
Give him another year, Lord.
Because I got a plan for them.
Yes, God.
Jesus is saying that you're not built to be idle, but you're built to be productive. And so I'm going to show you how to be productive. Here it is. I'm going to dig around it and fertilize.
Yes, cultivate. Yes,
I
God.
had to look at that thing and he says,
Yes.
I'm getting ready to dig around it.
Yes.
I'm getting ready to pull the weeds from around it. I'm getting ready to make sure the root system is taken care of.
That's what's
He
happening.
said, I'm getting ready to dig around the roots, and I'm getting ready to get to the root of the problem.
Yes, sir.
Some of us is unproductive because we got root issues. We got root issues. Can I say it one more time? Yeah. We got root issues. It ain't in the leaves. It ain't in the fruit. It's in your roots. It's where you're planted at. Yeah. Your roots are taken up. Your roots ain't getting no nourishment. Your roots ain't getting no water. So God's saying, through Jesus Christ, be ready to dig around your roots. Somebody will turn around your seat and say, I feel God digging. I feel God getting down to the root of the issue. I feel it getting down to the root of bitterness. I feel it getting down to the root of unforgiveness. I feel it getting down to the root of hatred. I feel it getting down to the root of sin. God dig me. God root me up. Get me prepared, God. That's why you can't get to me, because I'm too rooted up. Somebody else shout, God dig.
God dig me.
Jesus.
Work on me.
Yes, sir.
The Bible says that he began to
My
break up
God, my God.
what was built up in you. He had to break up the files. He had to break up the dirt to get down. He said, in other words, it's going to take me some time
Jesus.
to get to the soul, to get to where you need. He says the word dig means to break through. Somebody ought to shout that Jesus is getting ready to break through your life. He's getting ready to dig through some hatred. He's getting ready to dig through some generational pressures. He's getting ready to dig through some low self-esteem. He's getting ready to dig through some suicidal thoughts. He's getting ready to dig through some family curses. Somebody else say, God, thank you for digging.
Dig, God, dig.
He's breaking. He's loosening the soul around the root because he got to loosen the soul in order to fertilize you. Somebody say, God, I'm ready to be fertilized. I'm ready for the word to start eternal life. I'm ready for somebody to pray for me now. I'm ready for somebody to love me now. I'm ready for somebody to be patient with me now. He's getting ready to fertilize you. But have anybody up in here who's ever been fertilized by the word of God? You're able to grow like you've never grown before. You're able to pray like you never prayed before. You're able to love like you never loved before. I thank God that he's disturbing some stuff that's in my life that's keeping me from growing. Thank God he's disturbing some stuff in my life that's keeping me from producing fruit. Today, God, I'm in a good place to get ready to grow. He's making you ready to grow this year. He's giving you a choice to get better. This year, he's giving you a choice to do more than he did yesterday.
Right now.
Who am I talking to in this
Yes, sir.
You're getting ready to grow.
Yes,
You're
sir.
getting ready to be better. You made up your mind. I'm not going to be normal no more. You made up your mind. I'm not going to sit down on God anymore. You made up your mind that you're getting ready to pray. You made up your mind that you're getting ready to worship. You made up your mind that you're getting ready to witness to some folk. You made up your mind that you're getting ready to produce some fruit. You're getting ready to produce the fruit of righteousness. You're getting ready to produce the fruit of prayer and faith. Who am I talking to?
My.
Thank you,
So
Lord.
this is your year
Preach.
to get better. This is your moment to produce. And you got to understand something. Watch the text. He said, my plan is to dig around the root, to break through, to loosen the ground, and to fertilize it. And he says,
Perhaps.
conditional perhaps, it will produce fruit next year.
Uh-huh.
But if not, cut it down.
My God. All right.
Jesus is saying,
All right.
I want you to watch
All right.
for the next year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if by all I've done be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If they still can produce.
Yes, God.
If they don't take this as a wake-up call.
My,
If they don't
my.
take COVID-19 as a wake-up
I
call
hear you, Lord.
to grow and to get closer to me. If they don't take this season to understand that I'm trying to propel them
All right.
into the next season of growth and maturity, then cut it down.
Cut it down.
Wait.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I had to myself the question. I said, wait. Before you cut me down, Lord, what are you really looking for
My
as
God.
fruit in my life? Before I go, because I'm going to leave you in just a second, but before I go, I need you to understand what he's looking for in your life. He's not looking for the fruit of a new car.
What?
He's not looking for the fruit of being debt free. He's not looking for the fruit of your house.
All right.
He's not looking for the fruit of your clothes.
All right.
And how much weight you lost in the season. But he's looking for the fruit of your lips.
Yeah.
Hebrews 13 and 15 talks about praise is the sacrifice of your lips. Can you produce praise in this season of your life? Can you open up your mouth and let your lips radiate the praises of God and all that he's done for you? I know you laid off, but can you praise him? I know you might have something, but can you praise him? I know your job acting funny, but can you praise him? I know folk talking about you, but can you praise him? I know you lost some stuff, but can you praise him? What you're going through, can it be a sign of your praise to God? Oh, can I talk to you just a little bit longer? Oh, here it is. Romans 1:13 says, in this season of the next year, can God see the fruitfulness of your ministry? Ministry means service. Can God see you serving people? Can God see you serving the community? Can God see your ministry growing, or is your ministry dying? Can God see more folk being helped by you, or more folk helping you? Let me pause there real slow. In this season, can God see you helping more people, or can people be seen helping you more? This season ought to be some mature folk. You ought to be grown in this season. You ought to be able to pray for yourself in this season and pray for other people in this season. You ought to be able to touch and agree with some folk in this season and decree and declare that God is big. He's bigger than what we go through. You ought to be able to stand flat-footed and say that God is working this thing out. In this season, can God see your fruit of your righteousness? Your life ought to be changed. As a result, he said, if not, cut it down. And can I tell you something? I understand your mind. I understand what you're saying before I close. But Pastor, you don't understand. Change takes time. Yes, it do. That's why he gave you 3 years to get it right. Because traditionally, the fig tree takes 3 years before it produces fruit. So he gave you time to get it right. Can I also tell you, change takes effort. In this season, what's your effort going to be? Are you going to put in the effort? That means you got to get up out of bed sometime. You can't lay down all night. You got to put some effort in getting up and getting into the Word. You got to put effort in reading your Bible and studying the Bible and understanding the Bible for yourself. In this season, you got to show effort that you're going to walk this thing out with Christ. For we walk by faith and not by sight. In this season, the just shall live by faith. Where's your effort in this season? And lastly, but it also requires a strategy. What are you going to do to get better? What are you going to do to show fruit this year? How are you going to make a plan? Can I talk to somebody up in here? I think in order for us to get better, we got to go through a boot camp. Who am I talking to? I wish I had somebody who can help me close this thing.
Yes, sir.
Anybody out there ever been in the military?
Yes, sir.
They tell you there's a couple things you got to do in order to get ready for the life after boot camp. They tell me boot camp is a mind game. It's designed to take the civilian out of you and replace you with a top-notch military soldier.
Yes.
In other words, that thousands of young men and women go in one way, but they come out another way. It keeps you in a good attitude.
Yes.
See, in order to get better, you got to develop a strategy how you going to fix your mind. You got to develop a strategy how you going to speak what's on your mind. I'm tired of folks saying, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind, baby. I don't need your mind or their mind. I need a mind of Christ. I need a mind that will allow me to
see things how he sees. But they also teach you in boot camp to never, ever make excuses. And they tell you to do exactly what you're being told to do. And it's your time to come out when it's your time of graduation. Can I tell you something? I feel like God is giving us the shelter in place to make sure we are in boot camp. We're in boot camp to get ready to have a productive year. We're in boot camp to come out stronger than we went in. Some of us went in with the world, but we're going to come out with God's way. Some of us went in disobedient, but we're going to come out obedient. Some of us came in with a bad attitude,
Preach,
but we're
man
going
of
to come out
God.
with a good attitude. We're going to come out with an attitude, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. We're going to come out better. We're going to be ready for war. Have anybody up in here? You said I'm ready to fight now. I've been productive long enough, but my season of productivity is getting ready to be battle prepared. I'm ready to pray for somebody. I'm ready to lay hands on somebody. I'm ready to prophesy to somebody. I'm ready to tell the world that God ain't doing us yet. Have anybody in here who will lift up your hands and open your mouth and say, I'm ready to be productive. I'm ready to be productive. I'm ready for God to see the fruit of my life. Anybody in here will give God a high five in the air and say, God, I thank you. You're it, God. You're everything I need. You're my joy. You're my peace. You're my help. You're my strength. You're my strategy, God. You're my everything. Thank God. He planted me but didn't cut me down. Somebody ought to say, yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
I'm ready
Thank you, Father.
to be rooted. I'm ready to be fertilized. And I'm ready for another chance.
Help us, God.
Thank God
Help us, God.
that he didn't give up on us. Even though we weren't productive, he says you got a choice
Jesus.
to be productive moving forward. What are you going to do to show God you're worthy of another year? God bless you. Good evening. Thank God for you.
Yeah.
I want to say to you, we love you, but this is your choice.
Yes, it's about
This is your moment
Yes, sir.
to analyze your whole life.
Yes, sir.
You know if you've been productive.
Jesus.
You know if you've been doing what God called you to do. But also, you got a mind to change right now.
My
God,
God.
I want to be better. So be better. Stop thinking about what you want to do and be willing to change your life to do it. What are you going to do to be productive this year?
Jesus.
God bless you, Lord. I extend an invitation
Yes, God.
to us
Yes, God.
to realize, God, if we have been planted and wasting the soil,
My.
draining the nutrients through the soil but not producing fruit, God, we repent. We come before you, asking you to dig around the roots, God, and take out the things that are choking us. Fertilize us with your Holy Spirit in the Word so we can grow and be productive. Lord, we love you.
We love you, God.
And Lord, we trust you
Yes, God.
to do what's right.
Yes, God.
Father, if I'm praying and there's someone who's hearing my voice not saved,
Jesus.
I pray today you save them, God.
In the name of
I
Jesus.
say, open up their life for you to come in. Recognize you as their personal Savior.
Yes, God.
Lord, save them.
In the name of Jesus.
Lord, if
Thank
we
you,
need to
Father.
repent because
Yes,
we've been
God.
unproductive,
Yes, God.
thank you for accepting us.
Thank you, Father.
In Jesus' name. If that's you, acknowledge by saying, God, thank you for saving me.
Yes, God.
If that's you, say, God, I make a declaration that I will be productive this year. Put it in there. Put it in there. You know who you are. Don't be ashamed of where you are. Just make it known, God, that's for me today.
Yes, God.
I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to pray more. I'm going to serve more. I'm going to give more.
Yes, God.
I'm going to be more available to you and your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.